Again, let me say we're so glad to have those today who are our guests. We appreciate you being here, and we certainly hope you might come back and worship with us again. Amen. Today I'm going to be preaching on the subject here, be not weary in well-doing, okay? Be not weary in well-doing. You know, the Bible accepts the fact that we Christians can become weary. We can become weary. Now, the word weary means actually drained, exhausted, fatigued, run down, tired out, worn out, beat, bushed, tuckered, done in. You ever feel that way? We use those words sometimes to describe how we feel, even as a Christian. And the Bible tells us in 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 13, brethren, be not weary in well-doing. God's talking here to Christians. Be not weary in well-doing, because we can do this. But God's trying to warn us, everybody can become weary. I was listening to a thing the other night of Jerry Lee Lewis. They call him a rock and roll star. And they asked him, well, Jerry, how's things going? He says, well, I'm getting tired of it. Now, here he is, a star in rock and roll and stuff like this, and he admitted, he said, I'm just getting tired of it. Going from the same place, doing the same thing all the time. He admitted he's getting tired of it. So, it's something that can happen to sinners. It's something that can happen to Christians, that we become weary, even in well-doing. Not just bad things, but also in doing good things. Now, I've heard adults and I've heard teenagers say this here. Man, I'm bored with life. You ever hear that? I'm bored with life. It happens. Now, some people said a Christian can't be bored. I don't know about that. Anybody that does something over and over and over again can become bored with life, you know. And so it's just a matter of being repetitious in life. You can actually get bored coming to church because you come all the time, week after week, week after week. And some people say, well, I'm just tired of going to church. They get bored. Why? It's repetitious. Some say, well, I'm tired because I'm tired of doing good deeds. I do good deeds all the time, and I'm just tired of doing good deeds all the time, helping people and so on. As a preacher, I can say this here, that sometimes I get tired of preaching. Man, I preach all the time. And sometimes I just get tired of it. It's just that way. And sometimes we get tired of giving tithes and offerings. We just get tired. Anytime we do something over and over again, we can become bored over and over again. A young girl on Facebook, she wrote how she was bored with her job. And so next week when she went back to work, they sent word for her to come to the office. And they said, following your comments made on Facebook, we feel it's better that as you are not happy and do not enjoy your work, we end your employment with our company. She got fired because she got bored. And she just stated the fact that she got bored. Hey, you know what? There's a guy in the Bible, his name is Solomon. You know what he did? My goodness, Solomon had everything a man could imagine to have. But you know what? He got so bored with life. Listen here, in Ecclesiastes chapter 2, verse 17. Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me, for all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That's the man that had everything a man could dream to have. But he said, I hate life. I got where it's just, I'm bored to death. I'm bored to death. Now, he tried to cure the boredom by doing this here. Look at verse 17. He says, I hated life because the work that is done under the sun was grievous to me, and all of it is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Chasing after the wind. Now, what was he doing? Well, in verse 13 and 14, he says, I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under the heavens. This sore travail hath God given to me, the sons of man, to be exercised therewith. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. Wow. He said, I am so tired of life. I've had people tell me I hate life. Man, I just like to just go ahead and die. I'm so miserable. I'm so unhappy. That's what we call chasing after the wind. They have built their life around things, and they have done it routine over and over again, and they have got bored with life. Now, it would seem like a man like Solomon, who had everything. I mean, he had everything. Wealth, fame, he had everything. And of all things, for a man like that to say, man, I hate life. I am just tired of it. I'm just so tired of it. I really am. Some believe that's why, actually, in life, he was so bored in life, that's why he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. He was trying to find some happiness somewhere. He was trying to find something that would make him excited in life, and he had 700 wives and 300 concubines. My. It would seem like if anybody was happy in life, anybody was thrilled with life, this man would be. He said, man, I've tried it all. I've tried everything under the sun. And I'm going to tell you right now, it does not bring the happiness. You get tired of it. You get tired. Now, we live in a dangerous age right now. I'm not sure that you're aware of this. I think you probably are. But it's a dangerous age. We live in an age today that our forefathers didn't have. For example, today we have gadgets and tools and machinery and computers. We have things today that can make life, but we have a lot of time on our hand. We have a lot of time. And most people today, they've got too much spare time on their lives. Too much spare time. And they'll tell you, I'm bored. Now let me talk to you about, for example, carpenters. It used to be a carpenter when he would nail a nail, and John could tell you all about this, a 16-penny nail, and it would take a long time to pound that nail into the board, boom, 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 boom. But now we have carpenters they've got tools, they've got guns to shoot nails, and they can shoot maybe a dozen nails in a board and it used to be our carpenters could shoot drive one nail. That's saving time. That's a wonderful thing, isn't it? It really is. Hey, how about the farmers? Boy, it used to be the farmer hooked behind the mule, and he'd plow and plow and plow all day long. And he looked back and said, well, I've got this much done, and it's not that much, really. But the man today with a tractor can get on the tractor, and in a few hours he can do what a farmer does all day long. Why? It's because of the machinery. It's because of the technology we have today. We can do things like that. And hey, you housewives, you're not left out either, are you? You got dishwashers, got wash machines. It used to be you had to scrub on a scrub board and wear those clothes like that. Now you throw them in the wash machine, put a little bit of something in it, and then it spins around and gets it out. Hey, you know what? That gives the wife more spare time, don't it? More spare time. And then, how about the mechanic? Like Brother Alfredo over there. He used to take a long time to get something done, but now he's got tools to make it so he's got spare time. I'm telling you today, folks, we have got too much spare time on our hand. It's a wonderful age in which we live. It's a marvelous age in which we live, but it's a dangerous age in which we live because it gives us all the spare time to get tired of doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this over and over and over again. Too much spare time. I asked Nancy the other day, I said, Nancy, how are you? She said, I'm bored. Remember that, Nancy? She said, I'm bored. I like for it to be busy. When I'm busy, time passes by fast. When we have all the spare time, it makes us so that we get bored. We really do. Now, we have an abundance of things today that has caused us to be bored. Technology has made that possible. It's wonderful, but yet at the same time, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. There's another reason we're bored, and that's because of undercommitment. When we wake up in the morning time, we need something to wake up for. We got to wake up for something. Man, oh my goodness. People say, man, I can't wait till I can retire and get my rocking chair and just sit there all day long. That may be good for a short time, but that gets old real fast. We all need something every day to wake up for. They're talking about now wanting to give us a 4-day work week and then rest 3. I wonder why God said work 6 and rest 1. Because God knows we need to stay busy. God made it so that we could keep our lives busy and so on. How about David? A man after God's own heart, the Bible tells us. But you know that man that loved God so much, one day he just got on the rooftop when he should be on the battlefield fighting with the men. He was goofing off. And all he had to do at that time was to lust after a woman, and he got himself in some serious trouble. He did that because he had too much time on his hand, you see? Too much time on his hand. And today we have a lot of people feel like, boy, I just can't wait to retire. When I do, I'm just going to take it easy the rest of my life. You better be busy. God said work 6, rest 1. You better tell your body, I'm not shutting down, man. I got a long ways to go yet. I got to do something. I got to run with a reason to wake up every morning to do something. I've got to do something. Yeah. Remember that guy that cooked chicken? Colonel Sanders? Did you know that he failed through life almost everything he did? Almost everything he did. And at the age of 65, he decided that he was going to do something differently. And that is cook some chicken with a certain recipe he has. And so he was sitting in his front porch, retired on his rocking chair, waiting for the mailman to come by. And he brought his check for the first time, $105. Man, oh man. And he tells us himself, he took that and got $85 of that and began to cook some chicken and carry it to the neighborhood as trying to sell it to them. And they bought it. And you know the rest of the story. He became a billionaire because he realized there's something I can do, and he did it. He did it. We all need something to wake up for every day. We need something to say, you know what, it's not enough to just sit in a rocking chair. I've got to do something. God didn't put me here just to fill up space. God put me here to do something. Do something. He did. We have to have something to crawl out of the bed for each day. Jesus said this here in John 10:10. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. It sounds to me like Jesus says, hey, I want you to have a full life, an abundant life. Not just do nothing, not just waste away, but do something every day. Now, you know, some people, they're bored to death, and they'll tell you, man, I'm so bored with life. And so they take medication, and they take medication, and they take medication, and they're like zombies walking around. There's something wrong here. You know why? Because medication cannot cure boredom. It cannot cure boredom. There's more to it. A patient went to the doctor because he was bored. And he says, it's been 1 month since my last visit, and I still feel bored and miserable. The doctor said, did you follow the instructions on the medicine bottle I gave you? The patient said, I sure did. The instructions on the bottle said, keep lid tight, closed, and I'm still bored. There's no medication we can take that will cure boredom. None. That's why people today, they try to get over it by taking medication, and it's a shame. They want to get over it, but they cannot. It won't cure them. Medication won't get the job done. Let me show you some reasons for boredom, okay? In everything, there's a reason for everything, and there's something that causes boredom, right? there's something that causes boredom. Let me share with you 3 things that I believe causes boredom, okay? Might be others, but these are 3 things I'm sure. First of all, we need a change of place. A change of place. Week after week, month after month, year and year, we find people in the same place doing the same thing over and over and over again. My brother Martin, he is so methodical. When he comes to church, he always sits in the same pew every time. When he comes to park his car, he parks in the same place at the same time. He wants his supper every day at 5 o'clock at the same time. And when he changes his razor blade once a month, he waits on the 15th, and whether the razor blade needs it or not, he changes the blade. Now that's talking about a guy that does everything methodical, right? We can easily become bored when we get like that. But there are people like that. We eat the same food all the time. We go to the same restaurant all the time, don't we, Nancy? We park their cars in the same places every day. We talk to the same people every day. We sit in the same pews every day. It might be good for one Sunday if everybody here jump over here one time. It might be those who in the back might come up here and those, do something different. But people just are so routine. They have set themselves up as routine, and that's the way they are. They're just bored. I told you sometime back, years ago, I bought me a goldfish for my office, and I had a little goldfish called Samson. I only had a little fishbowl about that big, and it was round. And they said it's good for your blood pressure, so I'd watch Samson go around and around and around, and I said, okay, that's enough of that. And sometimes Samson would come up to them, look at me, and he'd have put his little lips on the bowl like this. I'm so bored. My goodness, going around and around and around and around. There are big ponds out there. There are lakes out there. He could have a good time, but he's restricted to that little tiny bowl fish. How we have done the same thing. We have restricted ourselves to the little small part of life. When God says, I want you to have an abundant life, abundant life. Yeah. Now, sometimes in order to cure boredom, we have to spice life up and do some things differently than we normally do it. Have you noticed how exciting it is to get a new set of clothes? Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Tired of them old clothes, same old clothes all the time. Got some new clothes? Yeah, I feel a little better now. Yeah, that's a change, isn't it? Hey, that's the way it is. Have you noticed that people get a new job, they're excited about a new job? Why? That old job got old. That old job became routine. Now they got a new job. It breaks up the routine. They're excited now. They got a new job. Yeah. And have you noticed sometimes when you go down here and buy a car from Brother Ralph, man, you excited about that car? Oh, man, I got a new car. Man, you think that's changed my whole life, man. I've got a whole new life now. I got a brand new car. Amen. That's changing that place. Have you noticed that sometimes kids, when they go to school and they go to a new school, they're excited? That old school ain't no good. They got tired of that old school. Now they go to a new school. Yeah. Hey, how about when you get a new house? When you get a new house, all of a sudden you're excited. It's a new house, man. Your life has changed here. Why? You know why some guys like to go fishing? It breaks the routine of life. Now, to me, I don't find that a good way to break the routine. Sit there with a pole and fight mosquitoes and like Brother Ed do in the hot sun trying to catch a fish. But there are some people like that. But to them, it breaks the routine of life. And there are some people, they get excited about playing golf. And that just breaks the routine. They just feel like, man, when I hit that little ball and it goes flying down there. I never could figure this out. Don't they understand the harder you hit, the farther go you got to walk to get it? There are people that feel like, boy, that breaks a routine of life. That's a routine of life being broken up. Yeah, anytime we do something differently, it breaks up the routine, you see? It breaks up the routine. Now, back in the days of David, He loved the Lord, a man after God's own heart. He loved the Lord, no doubt about that. The Bible tells us that. But back then, they didn't have television, radios, computers, cars, boats, and campers. They would go out with the sheep and all day long sit in a pasture with a bunch of sheep. Boy, that could get boring fast, couldn't it? That could get boring fast. That might be why he said in Psalms 122:1, I was glad when they said to me, let's go to the house of the Lord. You know what church does? It breaks up the routine of life. All week long you'll be doing the same old thing over and over and over again. But when you come to church, you know what? It breaks up that routine. And David said, I was glad when they said to me, let's go to the house of the Lord. Now, he loved the Lord. But what a good break it was. My Aunt Marie that is going to be with the Lord, she was so bored with life that she had to live on medication. I mean, she tried her best to overcome boredom with medication. She was so miserable. And I'd go see her and sit with her in her living room, and the shades would be pulled, no lights on, and it'd be so dark sometimes, you could not hardly see her sitting across the room. And she had a miserable life, because she thought that, the medicine would cure it, and it never did. And she would not leave the house and do anything different. She'd just sit home, do the same old thing every day, every day, every day. Hey, sometimes it takes a different place. Sometimes you got to motivate yourself and say, I got to do something for the Lord today. When I wake up, I got somebody I need to go and see. I got somebody I need to pray for. It's a different place. If it's the same old thing 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you're going to get bored with life. You're going to get bored. You really are. God never intended for us to live like caged animals. I feel so sorry for some of these dogs and cats in cages day after day, day after day. God did not intend for us to live that way. There's a big world out there. There's so much we can do for the Lord. And we need to be doing it. Find a place. Wake up in the morning time. I can go talk to so-and-so. I can help so-and-so. I can do this. I can do this. Yeah. Change the place. And then also we need sometimes to change the face. Change the face. Have you noticed this? God gave us all different looking faces. Of course you have. Wouldn't it be something if God made us all look like Mickey? I mean, wouldn't that be something? Life would get bored real fast, wouldn't it? But God gave us different faces to look at, and they made us different for that purpose. Remember back in COVID-19 when it was really strong in this nation of ours, we were restricted in our homes, and we didn't get to go out of our homes, and we saw the same people every day. Same people every day, nobody but our family members, same face all the time. And we're told at that time that we had an increase in suicide, we had an increase in divorces, because people in life were so bored. God made it so we got a lot of faces to look at. Get out here and help a lot of people. But some people restrict themselves to just those few. I heard about a woman that was wanting to buy her a pet to make life more exciting, so she thought she might go and buy herself a pet parrot. And she was thinking about how this would make life more better for her, a pet parrot. So she went to the pet shop and immediately spotted a large, beautiful parrot. She went to the owner of the store, asked how much the bird cost. The owner said it was $50. Delighted that such a rare-looking and beautiful bird wasn't more expensive, she agreed to buy it. The owner looked at her and said, look, I need to tell you this. This parrot came out of a house of ill repute. And so I need to warn you that what might come out of his mouth might be offensive. woman thought about this, and she decided she still would go ahead and buy the parrot. And the bird looked around the room where her home and said, new house, new madam. The woman was a bit shocked at the implication, but then thought, that's not so bad. A couple hours later, the woman's 2 daughters came home, returned from high school. When they expected the bird, it looked at them and said, new house, new madam, new working girls. The girls and the women were a bit offended at the first, but then they began to laugh about the situation. A couple hours later, the woman's husband came home from work. The bird looked at him and said, new house, new madam, new working girls, same old faces. Hi, Bob. We need to look at some new faces, don't we? We need it every day because God made us all have different faces for a purpose, that we can see each other and say, hey. You look at some and say, boy, that's a nice looking face. And look at others, oh, boy, thank God. But anyway, God gave us these different faces for a purpose, but so we won't get bored in life. Also, there's a change not only of place, a change of face, but also a change of pace. Psalms 37:23 says this, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Did you get that? I like that verse. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. When God orders our life every day, you won't get bored. God has so many things for you to do. So many things he wants you to do. And there's sometimes he'll tell us we need to speed up. Sometimes he'll tell us we need to slow down. But anyway, he has it all organized in our lives. We live in a day time right now where we have what they call the interstate highway. And the interstate highways are really nice, aren't they? We can get on the interstate highway and hit that cruise control and just go down the road. Go down the road. And so as we go down the road, if we're not careful, we don't have to do anything. We can get sleepy. We can get sleepy because now it's in cruise control and I don't have to do anything. Now, we go different speeds if we don't have speed control, right? It determines on the highway, and it determines where we think the highwayman might be. And our brother back there, he used to be a highwayman, so patrol. And so we would make it so that we would drive different speeds. But speed control, the cruise control is just hit that button and just... And first thing you know, you might be in trouble. Yeah. But when you're on that back road with no speed control, you're looking. You got something here to look at, you see. So it makes a difference. It makes a big difference in how we do it, and so on. Now, the fact is, there's a reason for boredom, and a lot of time it's because we have locked ourselves at the same place, same pace, and the same faces all the time. And no wonder we're bored with life, day after day, when there's so much that needs to be done for the Lord, and there's so much more we can do for the Lord. We need to do that. We need to do it. But look here, I've showed you the reason for boredom, but let me show you as we close the cure for boredom, okay? The cure for boredom. There's got to be a cure, and there is. First thing to cure boredom is do whatsoever thy hands find to doeth, do with all thy might. That's in Ecclesiastes 9:10. It says, whatsoever thy hands find to do. Now, some people give the impression the reason that they're bored is because there's nothing to do. Oh, there's something to do. There's always something to do. You may not like what is to be done, but there's always something to do. And God said, whatsoever thy hands find to do, do with all thy might. Now, you can tell some people they're bored. You say, have you read this book over here? Whatever. You can talk to some people and say, you ever see that movie called so-and-so? Whatever. You can have some people, you hear that sermon? Whatever. Their whole life is like, I don't even feel like answering you. Whatever. I don't really care. I don't have. God said, whatsoever your hands find to do it, do with all thy might. Do with all thy might. Every night. I like what Eugene Peterson says. He says, whatever turns up, grab it and do it. Whatever turns up, grab it and do it. If you can do it. Yeah. C.H. Spurgeon said it this way here. Better to do what you need to do than to waste your 4 hours dreaming about what you would like to do. There's always work to be done. There's trash to be taken out. There's bills to be paid. There's windows that need to be washed. There's always the filters need to be cleaned. There's some that teach Sunday school. There's to file papers, some to carpoo. There's always something we can do. Someone said this here. You've heard the old saying that is so true. I expect to pass through the world but once. Any good therefore I can do, of any kindness that I can show to any fellow creature, let me do it now. Let me do it, not defer or neglect it, for it shall pass this way again. God said, what have your hands found to do? There is something that everybody here in this congregation today can do for the Lord. And so don't say I'm bored. Don't say I don't have anything to do. Oh, yes, you do. You say, well, I don't want to do that. Well, it's not what you want to do. It's something you can do and you should do. To waste your life, throw your life away. When I stand before the Lord, I don't want the Lord to say, I gave you so many years down there, and you wasted every year I gave you. All you did is just took up space. The world's dying and going to hell. Your family's not saved. And here you are saying you didn't have anything to do. Hey, whatsoever thy hands findeth to do, do it, it says here. And look here, it tells us how we're supposed to do it. Do it with your might. Do it with passion. With passion. Do it with passion. You can do something, but not do it with passion. Have you noticed that when you do something, sometimes you have to force yourself to do it, but once you started doing it and really got into it, you really began to enjoy it. You did it with passion. And God said, whatever you do it with passion, you see. One doctor said that whenever a patient comes to him complaining of vague symptoms with no medical cause, he tells them to crawl out of yourself. Crawl out of yourself. I like that. Crawl out. Another doctor said this here. If someone comes to me, I want to know a person fixing to have a nervous breakdown, what should I do? Everyone expected him to say, see a psychiatrist. But he replied, lock the door of your house, go across the railroad tracks, find someone in need, and do something to help that person. That's right. There are people that need your help. They need your help. And God's put you here. So one of the ways we can do something to get rid of boredom is that vacuum in our life that we have nothing to do. Do something for the Lord. If you keep it empty, the devil will see to it that something will get in that space. The devil will fill that space in your life because he knows that you're empty. He knows that you're not busy. You got time. You got time. But a person that's busy for the Lord, hey, they don't have time to serve the devil. They're busy serving the Lord. Also, by pondering the brevity of life, look at verse 10. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave, whither thou goest. What God is saying here is, when we leave this life here, it's over with. What you're going to do, you got to do it now, while you still can. There's nothing to be done later on. You say, well, preacher, I got a long ways to live. You don't know that. You have no idea. You have no idea how much more time you got. The Bible here tells us here, there's a hymn that we sing sometimes in our church, an old invitational hymn. It says, softly and tenderly, time is now fleeting, the moments are passing, passing from you and from me. Shadows are gathering, deathbeds are coming for you and for me. Life is not a rehearsal. We only get one shot at it. We only get one shot at it. And God says, do what you can while you can. I felt led to preach this sermon today on boredom because I realize when I talk to people, there's so many people today that will say, I'm bored. I'm bored with life. They're like Solomon. They don't have to be. They're bored because they choose to be. Your life can be an abundant life that Christ has prepared for you, or it can become a boring life if you refuse to do those things that God's called you to do. I want you to think this morning about your life, how it's with you and the Lord. Are you bored? Or do you realize that God's got a plan for your life? He's got something he wants you to do. And I'm not talking about just making